Hey everybody, this video is called Those Who Returned, and tonight we continue our pass-through study here in the book of Ezra, where we're looking at the list of the returning exiles. And I know this chapter might seem a little bit drier to most people, where there's going to be tons of names, but there's going to be a point in the wrap-up I'm going to make a mention of that you should think about when you read stuff like a list of names and list of names. But Ezra chapter 2, verse 1 and 2 starting out says, "Now these are the people of the province who came back from the captivity of those who had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away to Babylon, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, everyone to his own city. Those who were with Zerubbabel were Jeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, and Reelaiah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mizpah, Bigvai, Rahum, and Baanah, the number of the men of the people of Israel." So in verse 1 here, the province, verse 1, refers to Judah, reduced from an independent, powerful kingdom to an uncertain, humble province of the Persian Empire. And the returning Jews, they were still considered subjects of Cyrus, living in the Persian province. And Zerubbabel, he was the rightful leader of Judah at that time, and he was of the lineage of King David through Jehoiachin. And he did not serve as king, but he was still in the messianic line because of the curse that was bypassed through Jehoiachin's line. And Jeshua was the high priest of the first return, whose name means Jehovah saves. And he's called Joshua by the prophet Haggai in Haggai 1:1 and Zechariah in Zechariah 3:1. And his father Zozadek, as we're going to see coming up in chapter 3 verse 2, had been exiled back in 1 Chronicles 6:15. And he came from the lineage of Levi and Aaron and Eleazar and Phinehas, and therefore he was legitimately in the line of the high priest in Numbers chapter 25, verse 10 through 13. And make note that Nehemiah and Mordecai here are not the same men in Nehemiah or Esther. And Zerubbabel means offspring of Babylon, as a reference to the birth and exile. And we'll see in chapter 3, verse 8 through 10, it shows him being responsible for laying the temple's foundation. And we're going to read a lengthy portion here, verses 3 through 35 next. As you're going to see, it's tons of names here. It says, the people of Parosh, 2,172. The people of Shephatiah, 372. The people of Ara, 775. The people of Pahath Moab, of the people of Jeshua and Joab, 2,812. The people of Elam, 1,254. The people of Zatu, 945 people. The people of Zakkai, 760. The people of Bani, 642. The people of Bebe, 623. The people of Asgad, 1,222. The people of Adonikam, 666. The people of Bigvai, 2,056. The people of Edin, 454. The people of Atur of Hezekiah, 98. The people of Bezai, 323. The people of Zorah, 112. The people of Hashum, 223. The people of Gebar, 95. The people of Bethlehem, 123. The men of Netophah, 56. The men of Anathoth, 128. The people of Azmaveth, 42. The people of Kirjath Aram, Chephirah, and Beroth, 743. The people of Ramah and Geba, 621. The men of Michmas, 122. The men of Bethel and Ai, 223. The people of Nebo, 52. The people of Magbish, 156. The people of Uther Elam, 1,254. The people of Haram, 320. The people of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 725. The people of Jericho, 355. The people of Saneh, 3,630. So we see tons here of populations, and feel free to add up these numbers if you want for your own interests. But verses 3 through 20, it's given the family names of the returnees, where verses 21-35 is giving us a list of their towns and tribal territories of Benjamin and Judah. And in verse 3, numbers are more than as the people are listed here. As we see in the list of names here, it's only the men that are listed, so it does not include women and children. And in verse 5, it differs from Nehemiah's record through likely a copious error. In Parosh, Saphatiah, and Arab reflect the variety of influence that came in and among the children of Israel during the exile. And their name meanings are interesting. So when you look at Parosh, it means flee. And Shephatiah means Yahweh has judged. Ara means wild ox. And Zakeh means pure shortened form of Zechariah. Bani is shortened for Banajah, meaning Yahweh has built. And Bebe means pupil of the eye. Asgad means Gad is strong. Adonikim means my Lord has arisen. Adin means voluptuous. Ater means lefty. Bezeh is shortened for Bezaleel and means in the shadow of God. Jorah means autumn, it's rain. Hashum means broad nose. So name your kid Hashum and let them know what their name meaning is. Just kidding. Gebar means strong men. And next we're going to look at verses 36 through 58. It says here, the priests, the sons of Zedaiah of the house of Jeshua, 973. The sons of Immer, 1,052. The sons of Pashur, 1,247. The sons of Haram, 1,017. The Levites, the sons of Jeshua and Kadmiel of the sons of Hodaviah, 74. The singers, the sons of Asaph, 128. The sons of the gatekeepers, the sons of Shallum, the sons of Ater, the sons of Talmon, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hatita, and the sons of Shobei, 139 in all. The Nethanim, the sons of Ziah, the sons of Hashupha, the sons of Tabaoth, the sons of Keros, the sons of Siaha, the sons of Padon, the sons of Lebanah, the sons of Hagabah, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hagab, the sons of Shalmei, the sons of Hanan, the sons of Gideah, the sons of Gahar, the sons of Reiah, the sons of Rezin, the sons of Nekoda, the sons of Gazam, the sons of Uzzah, the sons of Paseah, the sons of Beseh, the sons of Asna, the sons of Meunim, the sons of Nephusim, the sons of Babuk, the sons of Hakupha, the sons of Harher, the sons of Bazuluth, the sons of Mehida, the sons of Harsha, the sons of Barkos, the sons of Sisera, the sons of Tamar, the sons of Neziah, and the sons of Hatapha, the sons of Solomon's servants, the sons of Sateh, the sons of Sopharoth, the sons of Peruda, the sons of Zela, the sons of Darkon, the sons of Gidiel, the sons of Shephatiah, the sons of Hatil, the sons of Pokerath of Zebaim, and the sons of Ami. All of the Nethinim and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. So I just want to make a mention here, verses 36 through 58, it almost sounds like you could get a little bass music in the background, maybe turn it into a little bit of hip-hop with that. But it's Nehemiah 12 gives additional list of the priests and the Levites from what we see given by Ezra. And the Nethinim, they were temple servants. They were descendants of the Gibeonites who performed servile duties at the temple. In verses 55 through 58 is given the descendants of Solomon's servants. And Zedaiah, Immer, Pashbur, and Harim families presented only 4 of the 24 divisions of the priesthood established by King David in 1 Chronicles 24, verse 3. And most of the priests, they stayed behind in Babylon. And Hanan means that God is gracious. Bakbuk means bottle, referring to the earthenware container with a neck and bulging body. And Mr. Babuk may have earned his nickname by his big belly or because his constant chatter sounded like a bubbling of water sounded being poured out from the bottle. And the number of Levites was actually less than the number of priests that returned from Babylon. And that's because they invested in worship at the high places. They were scattered on the hills, and in the post-Osaic Israel and Judah, the purifying fires of exile effectively burned out this idolatrous impulse, and therefore few Levites wanted to return to the promised land. In verses 59 through 63 says, and these were the ones who came up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer, but they could not identify their father's house or their genealogy, whether they were of Israel. The sons of Delaiah, the sons of Tobiah, and the sons of Nekoda, 652. And of the sons of the priest, the sons of Habiah, the sons of Koz, and the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These sought their list among those who were registered by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore they were excluded from the priesthood as defiled. And the governor said to them that they should not eat of the most holy things until a priest could consult with Urim and Thummim. So these were those whose genealogical information could not be verified. And Urim and Thummim were objects kept in the breastplate of the high priest. And they were used to determine God's will, as we've seen in prior studies through the books of Genesis through Deuteronomy. In verse 62, excluded is as unclean is because a man must be descended from Aaron in order to be a priest. In verse 63, governor speaks of Sheshbazzar, who was a Jew with a Babylonian name, and only a priest or member of his household could eat a portion of the sacrifice allotted to the priest. In verse 64 through 67, it says, the whole assembly together was 42,360, besides their male and female servants, of whom there were 7,337. And they had 200 men and women singers. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, and their donkeys 6,720. So verses 64 through 67, the gross amount is 12,000 more than the particular members given in the catalog when added together. And reckoning up the smaller numbers, we'll find the amount to be 29,818 in this chapter to 31,089 in Nehemiah. And Ezra also mentions 494 persons that was omitted by Nehemiah, and Nehemiah mentions 1,765 not noticed by Ezra. And if therefore Ezra's surplus is added to the sum of Nehemiah, and Nehemiah's surplus is added to the numbers of Ezra, they will both become 31,583. And subtracting that from the 42,360, there's a deficiency of 10,771 or 10,777. And these are omitted because they didn't belong to Judah or Benjamin or to the priests or to any of the other tribes. And the servants and the singers, male and female, are reckoned separately, so that putting all these items together, the number of all who went with Zerubbabel amounted to 50,000 with 8,000 beasts of burden. In verse 67, it shows the group did not return with much, but it also that they didn't return with nothing. In verse 68-69 says, some of the heads of the fathers' houses, when they came to the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem, offered freely for the house of God to erect it in its place, according to their ability, they gave to the treasury for the work 61,000 gold drachmas, 5,000 minas of silver, and 100 priestly garments. So the first temple was also built with the freewill offerings in 1 Chronicles 29, not the tithe. And drachma likely refers to the Persian coin, the darkrit named after Darius I. And this would have amounted to approximately 1,100 pounds of gold. And a mina weighed about 1.2 pounds. So this would represent 3 tons of silver, as in 1 Chronicles 29, verse 7. And the people gave generously according to their ability. And they highly valued the house of God. In verse 70, says, so the priests and the Levites, some of the people, the singers and the gatekeepers and the Nethinim, dwelt in their cities, and all Israel in their cities. So verse 70 ends the chapter here. It's a lot of verses, tons of names, tons of sons of all that, and tons of numbers thrown at us. But this final verse, it closes out the section by echoing verse 1, in which they came and returned. And they lived in their towns, and the Lord has returned the people of promise to their ancestral homes in the land of famine. So to wrap up today's study here in chapter 2 of Ezra, we looked at the list of the returning exiles. And we saw those immediately associated with Zerubbabel. And Zerubbabel, when you look at Jesus' genealogy in Matthew 1:12 and Luke 3:27, you see him listed in there. And the curse of the messianic line for Christ was bypassed in Luke's genealogy by tracing the lineage through David's son, Nathan. And one thing to note is that the list is almost identical to what Nehemiah gave in Nehemiah 7, verse 6 through 73, which we're going to be taking a look at the book of Nehemiah next month, Lord willing. In verse 2 through 35, it shows us the list of the families returning to Judah and Jerusalem. Verses 36 through 57 gives us a list of priests, Levites, and temple workers returning from exile. In verse 58, it shows us 2 special groups who came back from exile. In verse 59 through 63 shows those of the priests with uncertain genealogies who returned from exile. In verse 64 through 67 gives the summary of the returning exiles. Verse 68 through 69 shows us the offerings that were made for the rebuilding of the temple. And I want to look at 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 2. First Corinthians 16, verse 2 says, "On the first day of the week, let each one of you lay something aside, storing up as he may prosper, that there be no collections when I come." So we see that the Apostle Paul told the church at Corinth to give in proportion to their gains. The Apostle Paul calls for generous giving from that New Testament church. And I want to look at 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 3 next, in the very next book. 2 Corinthians 8:3 says, "For I bear witness that according to their ability, yes, and beyond their ability, they were freely willing, imploring us with much urgency that we would receive the gift and the fellowship of the ministering of the saints." So the Corinthian church, they gave beyond their ability. And may we be generous givers for the kingdom of God. Even though the church Corinth had many issues, in Paul's first book of 1 Corinthians confronts all those different issues within the church, they were generous givers. And we see that the chapter ends with the restoration of substantial Israel's presence in the Promised Land. And one last note I would like to make is, like I was saying, the list of the exiles who return may not be theologically interesting to you, but what it should remind us of, if you're still listening and haven't turned off this video, is that it shows us that God knows his people personally. And number two, common people are vital to accomplishing God's redemptive plan. So that's going to wrap up for today's video. We'll see you next Thursday night as we're going to look at the foundation of the new temple. So God bless. Have a good rest of the next couple of days, and we'll see you back Thursday evening. God bless.